Okay, so we're going to create a milling holder. This is going to be a CAT 50 milling holder from Pioneer. So when we go ahead and import the solid model that we downloaded from their website, we can see the holder in space, and a couple things that we want to look at first is going to be the location of this holder in reference to the origin point in ESPRIT, as well as its orientation. So here we can see that it's oriented about the x-axis, and we want this oriented about the z. Additionally, if we look at the positioning, it looks like if I go to just a standard view here, I see that this is slightly off. I'm going to assume that this is probably where it needs to be on the machine. So when it's on dual contact, this is an SX holder for dual contact. So I'm going to assume that the location in terms of in space, that this is in the correct location. I'm just going to change the orientation of this particular holder. And if we look at this, what we need to do is basically rotate this portion down so that it is aligned up and down with the z-axis. So we need to rotate about the y-axis a positive 90 degrees. And how do we know this is positive? If we put our right hand, our thumb, in line with the y-axis on the screen and we curl our fingers, that's the right hand rule. That's going to show us that we need to move in a positive 90-degree rotation. So we can hit Control A on our keyboard or right click and say select all, and then right click and say copy, and we're going to pick rotate. We're going to say move positive 90, and we're going to uncheck the rotation axis using the origin. So we're going to say OK and then pick the y-axis. And now we see our holder is oriented correctly. Now in terms of these slots, I'm not really worried about that. It's just simulation and we're not going to be getting anywhere close to that anyway. So what I do want to look at is I want to look at where we're going to have the tool appear. So when we create a tool in ESPRIT, we want it to just appear where it's supposed to be, which is going to be at the center and at the face of this collet nut right here. So what we need to do is create a work plane. Now looking back out here, the orientation of our tool is going to be the same orientation as the holder. We want the tool located and oriented around the z-axis. So we want the new work plane to be at the center at this face. So we're going to go ahead and under home, we're going to use because we don't need to change the orientation of the work plane. We just want to translate where it's located in space. So we're going to make sure translate is active here, and then as I move my mouse around, you can see that the snap highlight location, I want to go ahead and highlight that face with the little circle next to the cursor. So as I move it to the center and then click, it will go ahead and place that XYZ or UVW at the center and aligned with the face. So now what I want to do is just come here and create a tool adapter position _1, TA _1. So now in ESPRIT, when I create a tool, it should appear at the end of this holder and be extending from that face downward in the opposite direction of the Z vector. So we've basically created this holder. I don't care about any colors. This is fine, light gray for everything. I'm going to come here to File. I'm going to say Save As, and then I'm going to come to where I loaded this in. And right now we want to select Holder GDML. So this is the file. We're going to add it to these two, and we're done. So let's take a look at how this is going to look on the machine. So we have a machine loaded, and I just loaded an existing file that I had on my computer. I'm not sure if this machine is a CAT 50 or a CAT 40 or what it is, but I'm just going to load it in to make sure that the positioning and the orientation is correct. So we go to Tool Assemblies, and under Station 1 here, I'm going to right-click and say Add an Adaptive Item. So we're going to go back to the Pioneer folder and pick that SX tool that we just made. And we can see here in the preview that's certainly the tool holder that we just created. I'm going to say open, and there it is. So it looks like it appears in the correct spot. The orientation is correct. So I'm going to say OK, and then when I right-click on this and I say let's create a milling tool, let's say an end mill. This is, what is this? This is already a 10 millimeter end mill. So it's sitting basically where it needs to be in the holder. So we know that our tool adapter position is correct, our holder position is correct, and now we can use this holder to check for collisions.